Hello, hi, hi. Welcome back to another episode of A to Z of Consciousness. We are at letter P today. We will be talking about power and potency. And just to introduce myself to you, I am Anchal Bedi, a certified Theta healer and an Access consciousness practitioner. And I'm so delighted to be here every week with you, talking about different aspects of consciousness. And today's topic is really interesting, really potent, and powerful, like the title suggests. It's all about tapping into being yourself, being a greater version of yourself. Thank you so much, Anjali. That is so kind of you. So today's entire topic is a little heavy, and I would require your full attention if you really want to gain out of this discussion. So let me talk about the elements potency and power separately, and then I will talk about them together, and I will also tell you the little differences about in the different terms potency and power. So, potency is all about maximizing your own existence. So, we all have these inherent capabilities, inherent capacities, which are truly ingrained in us. They are innate and we are born with it, you can say. So, you may have seen that there are some people who are born with certain talents. Okay, some people, like we're all watching the Olympics, so it's all about all of these great sportsmen born with the capacities to master that sport. And some people are born with a beautiful voice and they can sing beautifully, be great singers. So we all know about potencies and we easily define them as talent. We easily define them as a strength which shows up in the form of a sport or art or music or dancing. But potency is a little bit more than that. Potency is not just your outer talent. So, the entire focus of access consciousness is to maximize our power, our potency, and allow us to be more empowered and stop living our diminished versions. So, we are so used to living our world in our bare minimum self, struggling with life, being the bare minimum self. And the founders of access consciousness many a times say this phrase that stop pretending to be a chihuahua when you're actually a dragon. And that hits me whenever I hear that in many of their talks, in many of their classes. It really hits me that, hey, if I am the dragon, then where are my potencies hiding? Why do I pretend to be a chihuahua when I really am not? So that is the area that we will be exploring our true capacities of being dragon like, not being as diminished as we think that we are. Okay, so it's all in our perception. Let's go about changing perceptions today. So sometimes our potencies are so hidden inside of us that sometimes we may require to ignite them slightly. We need to give them light to be able to show up on the surface, to be able to see them in our vision, see them manifest in our reality. So there is a common popular belief. So people say, scientists have said that we only use 10% of our brain. We only use 10% of our brain, and the rest 90% is dormant. And I don't know how true that fact is, but it's a very, very common popular belief. And what if I tell you that it is the same with our own potencies, same with our own capacities? We are way greater than who we think we are. We are much more capable than the capacities that we are using. We are probably using only 10%, say, like how much we are using our brain. Would you like to go up in that percentage? Would you like to increase your capacities by choosing more of you? So when you choose to be potent, when you choose to allow yourself to be more potent, you are choosing more of you. You are choosing more of you. You are being you. If any of you have read the book Being You, Changing the World by Dr. Dane, he's the founder of Access Consciousness. He has talked about the different ways that we can have more of us. Okay, more of us. And one of the greatest ways of living a life of consciousness, having more of us, is to be yourself. And if you truly want to be yourself, you have got to acknowledge your potencies. So the next question is, how do I be potent? How do I be aware of my potencies? How do I really be aware of my capacities? Because I know everyone wants to live a life of full capabilities, starting from school, when we were back in school trying to give our exams, trying to excel in our different extracurriculars. We all wanted to be our greatest versions, but not all of us came first. Not all of us excelled in everything. Then where were our potencies lying? Where were our potencies hidden? The thing is, like I said, sometimes you've got to ignite them because they have been dormant for so long. They have gone unused for so long. They have just been in slumber mode. So are you ready to ignite that potency within you by asking this simple question? How can I choose to be a more potent version of me today? How can I choose to be a more potent version of me today? And that's it. It is just as simple as that. Asking one little question can actually make you aware, can allow you to be an invitation to more of you, can allow you to be an invitation of more potencies that are available in you. Okay, and these are not coming from somewhere outside. Like I said, your potencies are all, they're all innate, they're all inherent inside you. It's just that they are just going unused, like the same concept of we not using our brains to our full capacity. We are not even using our total potencies at our full capacity. When you ask this question, how can I choose to have a more potent version of me today? How can I choose to have a more potent version of me today? You automatically start inviting all of those potencies that are unacknowledged, hidden, just lying somewhere, not even asked for. Are you willing to ask now? Are you willing to make that ask now? And so what happens is that, like I talked about, how all of our talents are considered as potency, that hey, she's amazing at sports, and look at her, she's brilliant at art, or she's an amazing dancer. All of these things in this reality are considered as potency. That is potency, but potency is also very extended version of that. You can have a nature of being absolutely nurturing. That could be your potency. A lot of people are very, very good in communicating with other people. That could be your potency. Some people are just very understanding with people. They don't have to be told too much. They are excellent listeners. That could be your potency. So we have always tried to look at other things, that hey, I am really not that great in art. I don't have any great potency. And trust me, I have been through that phase, because in school, our only talents, our only capabilities are judged in the form of these extracurriculars or academics. But what about the generosity that we are? What about the compassionate human beings that we are? All of those things together make up our potency. Okay, so when you ask this question, how can I be a more potent version of me today? It starts to show up in your reality. Your greatnesses start to show up in your world. So, a lot of us have believed that up till now, none of our potencies have shown up. uh, be in school, nothing really showed up. We weren't excellent in a particular thing. That means we don't have any potencies. We have believed that abhi tak nothing has shown us in our reality about our greatness. That means there really isn't. Like people who have lived 50, 60 years of their lives and they haven't really discovered something great, something exceptional about them, they start living with the belief that there is no potency, there is no exception. I mean, they're not exceptional in any way. They start believing that they're just average. They were born to be mediocre, they were born to be average, they were born to be regular. Can you all in this moment, if you have believed that in some way, in any way, can you just acknowledge that as a lie now? None of us were born to be mediocre or regular or average. We were born with all of these potencies. All we have to do is just give it some push for it to come out onto the surface. And that is exactly what we're talking about today. Also, being your true potent self is a choice. It is all about choice. And someone asks, what are we talking about here? We're talking about potency and power. Okay, and we're talking about how to maximize our potencies, how to invite our potencies into our world so that they start showing up and get out of this uh, false illusion, this illusion of being so mediocre, being so regular, being so average. Okay, so that is exactly what we're talking about. So talking about being mediocre and average and regular, so I want to put this example out. I don't know whether it will make too much sense in this conversation, but so I was my house help, there's this guy who takes care of our kitchen, and he does the dishes and the cleaning and everything. And he was late at night, he was working and just finishing up his work for the day. And I was in the kitchen, I was just making myself a cup of tea or whatever. And then I just looked at that guy, and I was just wondering to myself that this is such a mediocre life that he is living. It is such an average regular life. And I kept asking, because I'm so used to asking these questions at all times, that what is the potency of him? Like, what could be the potency of him being a house help? Just his entire life is all about doing the dishes. Does he even have a potency? Would he ever know that he has a potency? Would anybody be able to see his potencies? And I left the question to that, and I left the thought to that, and I moved on with my life. And then a couple of days later, this same guy, he started to create ruckus. He said, no, I'm leaving this job, I have to go back to my village and this and that. And then we were all just thinking, okay, fine, we'll get a replacement. It's just, we'll find someone very easily. And suddenly my father-in-law, he put his step down. He said, no, I will not let this guy leave the house. We can find replacement for all the other staff in the house except for this guy. And we were like, why? What's so special about him? He just does the dishes and does the cleaning. We'll get a replacement easily. And my father-in-law, okay, so he has a slight knee pain and a slight shoulder pain that he's dealing with in the last few months. So apparently this house help of ours gives my father-in-law excellent massages, and he does some special village type physiotherapy for him, which he must have learned back in his village, because he would do it for his his parents or his grandparents or whatever. And since he has started to do that little bit of an exercise with my father-in-law is showing excellent results in his improvement. So my father-in-law said that whatever salary this guy demands, I am willing to give him. But he will not leave this job. Anybody else in the house can be replaced except this guy, because what he does to my body, no other doctor could do. Nobody else could do. So I want this guy. And in that moment, it awakened my thoughts to a point that, hey, see, we all have a potency, we all have a capacity. And like, I know this example is very, very unmatched and silly, but why I put this up today here is, and thank God it came to my mind right now, because talking about mediocrity, talking about being average and regular, looking at a house help who literally just washes dishes for a living, even that guy has a potency that the head of the house literally tells him that you can have any salary that you desire, but you will never leave this job. And that guy still works with us at the salary that he desires. That is what it is. All you have to do to be aware of your potencies is to ask one question. I asked a question for that guy, and maybe in the next few days he also realizes potency. I truly hope that it got to his awareness that he is bloody potent, that he is not easily replaceable. So we are all irreplaceable, unique in our own ways. We are not just regular and average. But we don't really know all of this, because did we ever ask the question? Did we ever allow the universe to show us our potencies? We were only trying to find our potencies in talents, that okay, am I a good dancer, am I a good singer? If those are your potencies, that is wonderful. That really is wonderful. But we are all made in different forms and ways, and none of us are made to be mediocre, none of us are made to be regular. From you and me to our domestic help, to anyone, we are all born with some capacities and capabilities that we are not even aware of, that are simply lying undiscovered, unacknowledged, and hidden. Our only job, if you want to really choose a path of consciousness and greatness for yourself, our only job is to discover those potencies. And when you are able to do that, you are succeeding in the process of being a conscious person living a conscious life. Because now you are more aware of you. You are now more aware of the totality of the being that you be, and not denying and rejecting your true self. So, everything that makes you think that you are average, mediocre, regular, can we please now destroy and uncreate all of that? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shots, boys and beyonds. That was just an access consciousness clearing statement that I used. If you're not aware of it, it's totally cool. You can go back and read about it on YouTube. There are ample videos, ample articles explaining and talking about the access consciousness clearing statement. So, a lot of times, like I said, we're denying our own potencies. So if you are wanting to discover and be aware of more of you, here's a wonderful question that you can ask. How many potencies, which all potencies, have I been denying, refusing, avoiding and rejecting? How many potencies and which all potencies have I been denying, refusing, rejecting and avoiding? Which could be available to me, which could be available to me now, which could be available to me now. So ask that question, because a lot of times we are simply denying that we are potent, we're refusing and we're rejecting that there is even a possibility for us to be more potent than what we are in the moment. So always ask this question: are there any potencies that I'm denying in the moment? Are there any potencies that could be available to me that I'm rejecting, refusing, and avoiding? And especially ask this question when you are starting something new in your life. Maybe a new job, going to a new college, getting married, having a baby, whatever new you are starting. Allow your potencies to show up in that moment. So that change, that newness, a new start, a new phase in your life can be smoother, can be easier, and you will be backed with all of your potencies to be able to make that shift. Allow your potencies to show up. Now, another reason why I wanted to talk about potency today was because when your potencies go suppressed for a long period of time, they are going unacknowledged, you're not willing to look at them, they will be turned into anger. So imagine yourselves as this active volcano, okay? And there's lava bubbling inside you. And that lava, let that be the potency of you. If that lava does not come out in its own way, I mean, if you're not willing to acknowledge that, that volcano will erupt. And that eruption is called anger. So, how many potencies have you suppressed inside of you? How many potencies are you not willing to look at, which are now showing up in the form of anger? Ask yourself that question. Every time you feel angry, irritated, frustrated, ask yourself this question: is there some potency of me that I'm denying in the moment which is creating this anger? And I want to explain this with a wonderful example. Let's talk about special children, children with special needs. Okay, and these children, they have extraordinary capacities. They are so sharp in their mind, their brain, their intelligence works at the level, at the speed of light. And we human beings, we regular human beings, not special human, not special needs people, we, our mind works way slower than theirs. And just because we don't understand their speed, all of the people from the autistic range or the ADHD, ADD, they are so fast in their thinking, they are so fast at times with their bodily movements, that all of these potencies go unrecognized. And then we keep labeling them as anger, disrespect, misbehaving. So all of the uninformed parents and teachers who are dealing with such children, when they get when they see too much of their anger, I mean too much of these things about the children, they label them as anger, and then they start looking for doctors who can medicate them and put them on sleep inducers and other nerve relaxants and muscle relaxants, so that these kids slow down. And then they believe that, wow, there is such an improvement in the child is not angry anymore. The child was never angry in the first place. The child was highly potent, just that nobody understood, nobody acknowledged, nobody recognized their potencies. Many a times, most of the times, your anger is just your unacknowledged potency. A lot of people believe, like even for regular children for that matter, even if you're a parent and you have kids in the house and you see them angry, irritated, in that moment of anger, see, children are very limitless with their thoughts. They believe in possibilities, magic, miracles. unlike we adults, we get very practical and logical and sensible, and we unchoose all of the magic that is available. But that's not true for kids. They are always experimenting. They're always looking for something new. They're always trying to put out more of their potencies. But a lot of times their potencies are seen as, oh my god, this child is so restless, or this child is so naughty, or this child is always fidgety. No, that is their exploration, that is the potency of them. And then it is when you scold them, you try to use an element of anger and scold, then they show anger back at you. They were never angry in the first place. They were just potent, and you suppressed their potencies as a parent. And that's why they are showing up as such angry kids now. Every time you suppress potency, anger will be created. In many household Indian households, women are especially not given the space to voice their opinion, to talk about their needs and their desires and their wishes. It is just made in, I mean, an assumption is made about women that okay, they just want to grow up to be married and have kids and make someone else's house. That is not true for a lot of women now. A lot of women want to create their own realities, and when women are not given that much space to speak up their opinion, they become rebels. Is that truly rebellion, or is that your suppressed potency? And please do this kind of self check on yourself when you are being angry in a moment, when you are getting unnecessarily frustrated. Is that your anger and frustration, or is that just your lava, that volcano erupting because there was just suppressed potency? So when you start seeing that there is some potency beneath every anger, again you will invite more potencies to show up in your life. And stop judging yourself that hey, I have anger issues, or this person has anger issues. Not necessarily. It's most likely that they have suppressed potency issues, not exactly anger issues. That's what it truly is, and that is exactly what your job is. Like I said, as a conscious being, when you're walking on the path of consciousness, to be able to recognize these potencies. That way you will ignite potencies in your life and diffuse all the anger that could be available in that moment. Okay, so hope that is easily understood by everyone. Everywhere you see yourself angry, everywhere you see anyone else angry, your children angry, please ask, are they misapplying anger? Are they misapplying potency as anger? Or am I misidentifying potency as anger? So you could be doing two things: misidentifying and misapplying potency as anger. Okay, potency when suppressed becomes anger, I repeat. So always be aware of this little thing about potency, the relationship between potency and anger. And the more you ignite your potencies in you, the lesser angry you will be. And that is exactly how it works. Now, this entire topic was about potency and power. So I want to talk a little bit about power. Now, it is great, it is wonderful to be a truly empowered being in your total power and being your total greatest self. However, in this reality, in the reality of anti consciousness where we live, um, power is not only power is required, power is needed by people, because there is this hunger, there is this need for power. And one of the greatest examples is politics. Okay, politics is all about being greedy for power, being greedy for that chair. And in the recent times, in the COVID times, we have seen how our government has failed us. Okay, and politics is about diminishing other people's capacities to be in power. You all know what is happening in Afghanistan as of now. We all know the suffering that is taking place in Afghanistan right now, and the state of affairs in that country, in the situation that the women are right now. What is all of that? That is all power. Power. A lot of people want to be in power. They don't care about their potencies, and potency and power are used as synonyms. However, there is this stark difference. Potency is all about having more of you, upgrading yourself. It is a version of outcreation. If you have watched my previous talk of O for outcreation, However, power is about controlling the other one. Power is about instilling the element of fear in the other person for your own personal benefit. If you are doing that, if you are doing power, if you are choosing power from a space of controlling others, from a space of instilling fear in others for your own personal benefit, you are being the greatest anti-conscious self, anti-conscious version of yourself. So please do not mix potency and power, and this is why I slightly wanted to touch upon this topic too. And all this hunger and greed for power and the need and necessity to control people and gaslight them and make misuse them for your own personal growth is all anti-consciousness, which will never ever create a planet of ease and joy. There will never be anything greater coming out of that. So every time you see yourself moving up on the ladder of success, when you know that you are reaching greater heights of success, please ask, please stop in that moment. Okay, because success gives you a lot of power. Success gives you, and power sometimes can turn into greed, and then greed will also lead to controlling others and misusing others, and also instilling a sense of fear in others to be able to command respect and honor. So whenever you are going up in the ladder of success, progressing in life, please ask yourself this question: am I really choosing to see my potencies, discover my potencies, or am I doing this because I want to control or because I want to instill fear? Always have that awareness. And I know this is like a very, very in-depth thought, but I still want to bring it out to all of you, because now we're at letter P, and we're doing this A to Z of consciousness series, and I feel that my thoughts and my awareness is really progressing every time we speak about something else. And if you have been regularly following this series, I'm sure that you have also received so much of greatness from the kind of information that we have been sharing up till now. However, if you have missed out on any of the topics that we have spoken about up till now, you can go back to the IGTV section on this page, and please listen to all the talks that we've had so far. So like I said, it's a very, very deep thought to be able to see whether you are actually progressing in the form of maximizing your potencies, or are you just using your increased power to control others, to instill fear in others, and empower yourself by disempowering others. So always ask that question, always be in a state of total consciousness and awareness, and these kind of self-check thoughts are really, really necessary, because they keep you going forward in life in the direction that is going to give you a more joyful, conscious world, that is going to create this chemical reaction of greatness wherever you go, and create a planet of ease, create a planet of consciousness, create a planet of joy. So thank you to all of you for joining me for this conversation of power, potency, and how to maximize your potency and how to not misuse your power. So if any questions show up, I would love to answer them in the next couple of minutes. Otherwise, we will see you again next week. And someone says there are many questions to be asked. How many questions can we ask at a time? I know. So all of these thought-provoking discussions really bring up a lot of stuff in your head, which is really good actually, because then this kind of conversation, it's doing its job, it's doing the work that is required. These things are not just regular conversations that you have with friends or you have across the dinner table with your family. These are all those conversations that get you thinking, that are very, very it's very seldom that you talk about things very in depth about power and potency. So if your questions, if questions are coming to your mind, that's really great. Then you're actually trying to step into a greater sense of awareness. And please feel free to DM me your questions or connect with me over a personal session. Whatever questions you have, we will try to get clarity around them to our greatest capacities for sure. So thank you so much to all of you for joining in today, and I will catch you again next week with another letter and with another great conversation. Thank you so much. Enjoy being the greatest, potent version of yourself. Thank you. Bye.